We want to thank you all for doing this. Bob, we are so thrilled that you wanted to step forward, to each of the candidates to step forward for this. So open with 5, if you can, from that standpoint, and then we have set questions, and then questions from the audience, okay? Ryan, you have the timer. Okay.
So I guess I'm on. All right, first off, I want to thank everybody for coming back to our home away from home. And as you know, there are very many important decisions that are made right here in the back room at Wings Plus. We get to meet everybody from the governor to the people that are running for president, to the school board members, to county commissioners, and even some of our judges come through here. So I feel very blessed to be among everybody that's here. I see a lot of people that are actually standing in line with me for 12 hours at a time. And it's nice to see some friendly faces that I see on Saturdays for hot chocolate on my son's birthday. With that said, and I always write every speech, and then I'm just going to stop and I'm going to take questions. I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. We are all Americans, each and every one of us. But even better, we are Americans that are part of the Republican Party. Our confidence may have been shaken, but make no mistake, the soul of each and every Republican has been stirred. We have an opportunity to go forth and speak the positive message. We are the ones that believe in the individual liberties of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If we take our core strengths and make that our message, we can take back Broward County in local elections, state elections, and national elections. And instead of me reading on and on and on about me and my speech, I would rather hear from you, because it's the members of BREC that are important, not the candidates, not the council, it's the members of BREC. You guys are on the streets, you guys hear what I hear. When I ran against Stacey Ritter, I walked neighborhoods. I stood in line for 12 hours. I listened to BREC members, I listened to voters. At this time, I would love to listen to you guys and what you'd like to see happen at BREC. So I'm open for questions.
These are the set questions for each of the candidates, and then there's questions that you all will be able to get specifically. What qualities do you have compared to the other 3 candidates that would make you most qualified for them and to be the best chair of BREC?
The qualities that I have compared to the other ones, I work in 3 modalities every single day. I work in the classrooms, I work in the small business development, I work in the corporations, and I work in the political arena. I'm one of the few candidates that gets to live the American dream every single day. I have the full support of my wife, my sons, and my daughter. And if you don't think that makes a difference in who your candidate is, you guys need to look elsewhere.
Great, thank you. The next question. What plans will you put into place to make sure that we do not have the election that we had in 2012?
Well, there again, as I was walking and talking with many of you, standing in those lines for 12 hours a day, I listened to what the voters want. I listened to what the Republican Party want. Some of the things that we're missing out on, and not to bring up bad news, but those Obama phones, they're also election phones. Those phones are used as a network to get the vote out. We don't have that one. We need to increase our technology. We need to make sure that the members of BREC have access to each and other member's phone number. So when Danita needs somebody out there, like last week at the commission meeting when Stacey Ritter was trying to take our guns away, Danita can hit a key or make a phone call and say, guys, look, we need to stop her in her tracks. We do not have the electronics to do that, the technology to do that. In addition, we need to open up neighborhood coffees where us BREC members meet with other BREC members for coffee once in a while or for brunch. We need to take it back to the grassroots. We do not have that in place.
Great, thank you for that. Now the next one is, how would you raise money for BREC operations and also to support the candidates? What do you propose?
Well, the first thing I want to make perfectly clear, I think that each and every Republican club has the right to home rule. Whatever money they raise should be theirs. They know where to keep it. They know how to use it best on the local level. To raise money, one of the things that I did not know as a candidate, well, even with all the help that I got from Richard and Napoli and everybody else, I now know how to access every single lobbyist in this state. And our Democratic friends have a network with the lobbyists. I will make sure that we have a network with the lobbyists to raise money for each and every one of our candidates.
Thank you. And the last question that will be set for each of the candidates is, how would your board differ from past boards? And what new positions would you like to add?
I'm willing to work 100% with the current board that's there. I have no problems with anybody on the board, and I wish them the best. What changes would I make? I would love to see more neighborhood coffee committees. If we can take the houses back individually and get the people out on the streets, we turn this county around. It's very difficult to have a county where everybody doesn't talk, nobody has access to anybody else. How many in this room, for example, has the phone numbers of the other people that are sitting here? We need to make sure that is 100%. So if someone needs help, if there's a candidate that's on a street corner, if there's a commissioner that's trying to take your firearms away, it is quite simple. You make a phone call, you hit an email. We all have a direct link to each other. That is one technology rule that we must have in place to take this county back.
Right. Okay, now we're going to go into the, for everyone that has a yellow card, you use your card, that's your time to use it for the whole night.
I have a card.
You BREC member?
No, but I will be tonight.
Okay, but you have to be right now a voting member.
I've got very important questions.
I bet. You can ask them afterwards, but tonight is for the voting members. But, you know, as far as asking the questions.
They're all members there.
Those that have yellow cards, hold up your, those are BREC members that have yellow cards. Okay, who would like to ask a question? Great.
Yes, the Democrats have tables and things set up everywhere at every function to register new voters. I've never seen the Republicans do this. Are you going to be able to pursue this, especially like at gun shows and stuff in the future, so we can register new Republicans to our county?
You're looking at someone who has put more Republicans in more classrooms, in more places that we thought that they'd never be than any other candidate who's going to speak to them. And I would love to have your help, and I'll go sit there with you at those tables.
Next question, raise your hand with your card. Can I take your card? I need to take your card. Great. You didn't get a yellow card? Okay. Any questions? Questions over here? Okay, great. Sorry. Question.
I would just like to know, what do you hope to gain if you are elected? In other words, what would you benefit by being elected? What benefit would it be to you? That's a tough one, I know.
You're looking at a father of three. I want to make sure I leave this country better than what I found it. That's my only game. Thank you.
Great. We have another question back here.
Bob, we hear about unity, and we've had over the past 3 presidents of the German, and it hasn't happened. You can see in the blog any day somebody saying something about somebody. So what can you do to get this bull finally stopped and get this party on, so we don't have another defeat like we just had?
Well, there again, we are the party of the redcoats, where we stand in a circle and shoot each other. The political infighting is going to have to stop. Now, I happen to be the one that when the elected officials are in trouble and the media's beating them up, they call me to smooth it over. When the candidates are fighting each other, they call me to smooth it over. What I have found that works better than anything else is you go up to somebody who's your opponent, even if it's on the inside, and you say, you know what, if we focus on what we agree on, we're going to accomplish a whole lot more than taking each other down. It's simple communication.
I know you ran for school board and you ran for state house, very tough races in Broward County. What are the lessons that you learned from those campaigns for Republicans?
Well, for Republicans, one, it's key that we get organized. The last voter registration, there were 1,700 voters that were registered. Only 100 of them were Republicans. We're on a sinking ship unless we get our act together. Now, what did I learn? I learned how the union can raise $500 apiece for their candidate, charge the teachers for it, and walk away with a small fine. I know the players that are in this field. I know them personally. I know them very well. I know that when you stand up to a bully, they back down. When it comes to getting a Republican elected on the school board in District 4, the game plan for the Democrats is they'll run a second Republican, that votes get split, both Republicans are out in the primaries. Running for county commissioner, we need to make sure that our own elected officials feel secure in promoting other Republicans instead of looking for the support of the Democrats.
Okay, one more. Ken, you want to stand up?
Hi, Bob. Good evening.
Nice to see friendly faces.
What can be done about, I'm thinking of the last time around, we had 5 or 6 candidates in the primary for one congressional seat. And it seems to me that was just a lot of waste of resources, created a lot of dissension among people, and those, 3 or 4 of those candidates could have been running for local office, maybe somebody running for the supervisor of elections or something like that. I mean, is there anything we can do to stop destructive, just that kind of thing?
I'm going to start that off with, I would encourage anybody who wants to run, because we need everybody's voice and everybody's input. Now, how do you qualify the candidates that are going to be the best one to run? That is a wonderful question. The best way to do it is you start vetting them, and you ask them to please not beat each other up in the primaries. Because, I mean, there again, the Republicans are the party of yes, you can. And we're a bunch of individual thinkers. We're a bunch of people that go out there and fight for our own individual rights. I would hate to be the first party or the first individual to tell somebody, no, you can't run. But how do we get them to work together? Maybe a little bit better inventing of our own to see who can be the stronger one to take on the opponents. I'm never going to tell anybody they can't run. Individual rights come first.
Any more questions? Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Sutton.
Thank you.